In this video, I'll be talking about hyperbolic functions. So, hyperbolic functions are just like they have properties very similar to trigonometric functions. We define sine hyperbolic of x is e to the power x minus e to the power minus x by 2, and cos hyperbolic of x is e to the power x plus e to the power minus x by 2. So, they have similar properties in the sense that you can see that sin h of minus x is, well, it's is equal to minus sin h of x, and cos h of minus x is equal to cos h of x. So one of the properties that is similar is that sin h is odd function and cos h is an even function, just like sin and cos. And secondly, you can check that the derivative of sin h of x is, well, it's d by dx of e to the power x minus e to the power minus x by 2. So this is equal to e to the power x plus e to the power minus x by 2 is equal to cos h of x. So that means the derivative of sin h of x is equal to cos h of x. So this is just like the trigonometric functions where sine square, the derivative of sin x is equal to cos x, just like that. However, they differ in some sense. So you can see that the derivative of cos hyperbolic is sin hyperbolic. However, in trigonometric functions, we had that the derivative of cos x is minus sin x. So that's one difference. And similarly, you can define tan hyperbolic, which is just the ratio of sine by cos. So tan hyperbolic of x is just the ratio of sin h by cos h. And similarly cot and cosec and sec, and the derivative of tan h of x is minus x, so minus sec h square x. uh, However, for trigonometric we had a plus sign here. And similarly the derivative of cot h is minus cosec square minus cosec h square. The derivative of cosec h is minus cosec h cot h, and the derivative of sec h is minus sec h tan h. So these are some formulas that you may remember. These are helpful. So furthermore, like trigonometric functions, we had sine square x plus cos square x is equal to 1. Here we don't have this, but rather we have the following formula: cos h square x minus sine hyperbolic square x is equal to 1. So you can check that cos h square x minus sine h square x is just e to the power x plus e to the power minus x by 2 whole squared plus e to the power x minus e to the power minus x by 2 whole squared. So this is e to the power 2x plus e to the power minus 2x plus 2 by 4 plus e to the power 2x plus e to the power minus 2x minus 2 by 4. Sorry, this is minus. So this is equal to, well, these two terms cancel out and we have 4 by 4, which is equal to 1. So that's why we have this formula. And similarly, you can check that like in trigonometric functions, we had the fact that sine of 2x is 2 cos x sin x. Similarly, we have sin h of 2x is 2 sin hx cos hx. So you can check that using this, like 2 sin hx cos hx is equal to 2 times e to the power x minus e to the power minus x by 2 times e to the power x plus e to the power minus x by 2. So this becomes e to the power 2x minus e to the power minus 2x by 2, which is equal to sorry, which is equal to sin h of 2x, right? So we have this formula: 2 sin hx cos hx is equal to sin h 2x. So now let's look at some examples. So suppose you are asked to find the derivative of sin h of x squared, then you can simply use the chain rule here. So we remember that the derivative of sin h x is just equal to cos h x. So I want to use the chain rule here. So this will be equal to cos h, because the derivative of sin h is cos h of x squared times, now we have to differentiate x squared, so this will be 2x. So the answer is 2x cos h of x squared, right? Let's look at the derivative of sin h squared x. So this is like d by dx of sin h x whole squared. So this is so the derivative of something squared is 2 times something, and now we have to differentiate sin h of x, and we know that the differentiation of sin h of x is cos h of x. So like this is the answer, and we remember from the formula that this is equal to sin h of 2x. All right. So now let's look at the derivative of this function cos h of cos of e to the power x. So this is the trigonometric cosine function, composed with the exponential and composed with cos hyperbolic. So we just have to use the chain rule here. So first we'll differentiate cos h of something. So we know that the differentiation of cos h of something is sin h of something, and now we have to differentiate something. So cos of e to the power x becomes minus sin e to the power x. Well, that's because this is the normal trigonometric function, so the differentiation of cos something is minus sin something, and now we have to differentiate this e to the power x. So the derivative of e to the power x is equal to e to the power x. So the final answer is minus e to the power x sine of e to the power x times sin h of cos of e to the power x. So this is our final answer. So now let's look at inverse hyperbolic functions. So, so inverse hyperbolic functions are just like trigonometric functions. Like you had sine inverse of sine of x is equal to x, is also equal to sine of sine inverse x in the principal domain. Similarly, we have sin h of sin h inverse x is equal to x is equal to sin h inverse sin h of x, and similarly for all the other inverse of like cos h inverse and tan h inverse and all the other stuff, right? So like we had the derivative of sin inverse x is 1 by square root 1 minus x squared. Here we have the derivative of sin h inverse is 1 by square root of 1 plus x squared, and the derivative of cos h inverse is 1 by square root of x square minus 1. So you will have to remember these derivatives, and in case you forget, you can always like try to derive it on your own. So I'll show you an example of cos h of x. So I want to find out the derivative of cos h inverse of x. All right. So we know that cos h of cos h inverse of x is equal to 1, is equal to x, right? Because these are inverse functions. So I can apply the chain rule here. So we'll have sin h of cos h inverse x, because the derivative of cos h is sin h, and now we have to differentiate this. So we want to find out this, so we can just multiply with this term is equal to the differentiation is 1, so I'm differentiating on both sides. All right. So this implies okay, maybe I'll write down differentiating on both sides. So this is just in case you forgot the formula and you want to find out what it is, then this is how we do it. All right. So now, so these are in multiplication, right? So the differentiation of cos h inverse of x is equal to 1 by sin h of cos h inverse x. So we have to find out what this is in terms of x. Then we know that we know the formula that cos h square x minus sin h square x is equal to 1. So that means we can write down sin h is equal to sin h of x is equal to square root of cos h square x minus 1, right? So I'll write that down. So 1 by, so this is like here instead of you can just use y if you are confused. This is cos h inverse of x is equal to y. Then we can write this down as square root of y, sin h of y square, sin h squared y minus 1. uh, I'm sorry, cos h square y minus 1. So this is like 1 by square root of cos h square y minus 1. But we know that, so if this is y, then this is just 1 by square root of cos h of cos h inverse of x whole squared minus 1. So we know that cos h inverse x is just x. So this is 1 by square root x square minus 1. So that means the derivative of cos h inverse is 1 by square root x square minus 1, as we wanted to prove. So similarly, you can find out the derivatives of other hyperbolic inverse functions. So I have written them down for here for you. So the derivative of tan h inverse is 1 minus x squared, and the derivative of cot h inverse is 1 by 1 minus x squared. The derivative of sec h inverse x is minus 1 by x square root 1 minus x square. And for cosec h inverse, you have a modulus x, and instead of 1 minus, here you have 1 plus x squared. So these are some formulas that you may have to remember in case you forget, and you can always use this kind of derivation. So let's look at some examples here. So let's say you want to find out the integration of sin h of x by 1 plus cos h of x dx. So which technique do we use here? So we know that the differentiation of cos h is sin h. So the differentiation of one of the terms appears in the numerator. So that means we can use u substitution. So let's take u is equal to 1 plus cos h of x. So we know that du is equal to sin h of x dx, right? Well, then sin h of x dx here, this becomes du, and this becomes u. So I is just basically the integration of du by u. So this is log mod u plus c. So now, as we had taken u to be 1 plus cos h, so this can be written as 1 plus cos h of x plus c, log mod 1 plus cos h of x plus c. So this is our final answer. So now let's look at another example. So you want to integrate x times sin h of x dx. Well, uh, so uh, we you can't integrate this normally. So we may have to use the integration by parts formula, because this looks like two different kind of functions multiplied with each other. Integration by parts. So remember, for the integration by parts, we had the following rule: Lie and these hyperbolic functions are just basically trigonometric functions, similar to trigonometric functions. So we include them in t. So t is, for now, it is both trigonometric and hyperbolic trigonometric. So this is sin h of x is a trigonometric function, and x is an algebraic function. So we know that a appears before t. So then we will have to take. So if you remember the integration by parts formula, it says that integration of f of x times g prime of x dx is equal to f of x g of x minus integration of f prime of x g of x dx. All right, and whichever appears first in the Lie rule is our f, and whichever appears later in the Lie rule is our g. So that means, in our case, f of x is equal to x, and g prime of x, sorry, the second function is not g, it is g prime. So g prime of x is sin h of x. Well, then for the RHS part, we need g of x instead of g prime of x, so we may have to integrate this function. So g of x is just cos h of x, because the integration of sin h is cos h. Well, the derivative of cos h is sin h. So, and f prime of x is the derivative of x, which is 1. So we have found out what f prime and g are, and we know what f is. So we can now substitute all of this in the formula here. So substituting in formula, integration of f times g prime is equal to f times g minus integration of f prime g. So we know that f is equal to x, g is equal to sin cos h of x, and f prime of x is equal to 1. So our integration, which is basically x times sin h of x dx, is equal to, using the by parts formula, it is equal to f times g. So x times cos h of x minus, so I'm using this formula here, x times cos h of x minus integration of derivative of f is 1, and derivative of, sorry, and g is cos h of x dx. So this is equal to x cos h of x minus integration of cos h of x dx. So we know that the derivative of sin h of x is equal to cos h of x. So that means integration of cos h of x dx is equal to sin h of x. Alright. So this is equal to x times cos h of x minus sin h of x plus c. So this is our final answer. Uh, Simply done using by parts, integration by parts. So now let's look at some other examples. So this is like, you want to integrate square root 9 plus x squared. All right. So you may have seen questions like this: dx by square root 9 minus x squared. So you remember that in this kind of integrals, we wanted to use inverse trigonometric functions as our substitutions. So inverse trigonometric substitutions. So the idea was that whenever you see square root a square minus x squared, you want to substitute x is equal to a sine theta, because well, that is because the integration of square root of, so that is because the differentiation of sine inverse of x is 1 by square root 1 a square 1 minus x squared. So that means whenever you see something like a square minus x square, you will have to substitute x is equal to a sine theta. All right. So that was the idea. So now here we have something different. So we know that the derivative of sin h inverse of x is 1 by square root x square plus 1, or 1 by square root 1 plus x squared. Both are same. And the derivative of cos h inverse of x is 1 by square root x square minus 1. The derivative of tan h inverse x is 1 by, I think it's 1 minus x squared. So these are the major substitution that we need to use. So as you can see from these formulas, which one of them matches this integral, the derivative of sin h inverse, right? So that means we'll have to use x is equal to uh, 3 sin h of x, sorry, u. All right. So that is what we want to use, because we know that the derivative of sin h inverse is looks like this. So we want to use this substitution, sin h of u. But since there is a 9 here, so as we had root a square minus x square, for that we use the substitution x is equal to a sin theta. So here we have 3 square plus x squared, so we'll use x is equal to 3 sin h u. So root 9 plus x squared is square root 3 square plus x squared. So we'll have to use x is equal to 3 sin h u. All right. So that is the substitution that we are using. Well, then dx becomes 3 cos h of u du. Right. And our integration, well, it becomes dx becomes 3 cos h u du, and we have square root 9 plus 9 sin h square of u. So this is 3 cos h of u du by 3 square root 1 plus sin h squared u. So remember that here we used to use, so whenever we had 1 minus sine square theta, we made it cos square theta. So that is because of the formula sine square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. So however, now we have hyperbolic functions, and for hyperbolic functions we have a similar formula: cos h square u minus sin h square u is equal to 1. So instead of cos h square, so instead of 1 plus sin h square, we can substitute cos h squared. All right. So this becomes integration 3 cos h u du by 3. So 1 plus sin h square becomes cos h square, and we have cos h square of u under square root. So this becomes 3 cos h u by 3 cos h u du. So this is just integration of du, because like this is 1. So this is the integration becomes u, but u is from this we know that u is equal to uh, sin h inverse of x by 3. So that is because you can see that x by 3 is equal to sin h of u. So now you can invert using inverse functions. So you will have sin h inverse of x by 3 plus c. So this is our final answer. Alright, so let's look at another example. So you want to integrate sin h square cos h cube. So as we had for trigonometric functions, whenever you had something like sine square x cos cube x dx, remember how you used to integrate it, because one of the powers is odd, so you will like separate out one of the terms cos x, so that so as to make this even powers, and you have cos x dx here. So the idea was that so the derivative of sin x is cos x. So cos x dx becomes du whenever you take u is equal to sin x. Then du is equal to cos x dx. Then this integration becomes sin square x becomes u squared. Cos square x becomes 1 minus u squared. And cos x dx becomes du. So now you can integrate this easily. So that was what the technique we used to do for sine square cos cube x, or the powers of sine and cos where one of them is odd. So that is what we used to do. So similarly we'll be doing here. So this can be written as sin h squared x times cos h squared x times cos h of x dx. Now we want to use u is, so this is the derivative of sin h of x. So we'll use u is equal to sin h of x, so that when we differentiate, this becomes cos h of x dx. So this becomes sin h square becomes u squared. So here the formula is different, because cos h square of x minus sin h square of x is equal to 1. So instead of cos h square x, we'll use 1 plus sin h square x is equal to cos h square x. So that means this function is 1 plus u squared. Alright. So this function becomes 1 plus u squared. Cos h square becomes 1 plus u square. This is u square and this part is du. So this is du, right? So this is just u square plus u4 du. So now this is the integration of a simple polynomial. This is u cube by 3 plus u5 by 5 plus c. And since we used u is equal to sin h of x, this becomes sin h of x cube by 3 plus sin h of power 5x by 5 plus c. So this is our final answer. So now let's look at final example. You want to find the length of a hanging cable which is given by the function y is equal to cos h of x from x between minus 2 to 2. So basically what you want to do is you want to find out the you have some curve and you want to find out its length. So you must remember the arc length formula. So whenever you have a function which is given in the form y is equal to f of x and you want to find out the length of the graph, then the length is given as integration. So let's say you want to find out between a to b, then the length is given as integration a to b square root 1 plus f prime of x whole squared dx. So now we'll use that formula here. So we want to find out when the curve is y is equal to cos h of x. So that means for step 1 we wanted to find out what is f of x. F of x is equal to cos h of x. Then f prime of x is sin h of x. And now the formula for length is integration a to b square root 1 plus f prime of x whole square dx. So this is integration. So our a and b from the question are minus 2 and 2. So this is a and this is b because x lies in between them. So x lies between minus 2 to 2 square root 1 plus, we know that f prime x is sin h of x. So this becomes sin h squared x dx. And now we know that cos h squared x minus sin h squared x equal to 1. So that means cos h squared x is equal to 1 plus sin h squared x. So that means this integration becomes minus 2 to 2 square root 1 plus sin h squared x dx, which is equal to minus 2 to 2 square root cos h squared x dx. So integration of so square root of some square function is just the function itself. So this is equal to so now we want to integrate cos h of x. So we know that the derivative of sin h of x is equal to cos h of x. So that means the integration of cos h of x dx becomes sin h of x. Alright, so this is minus 2 to 2 sin h of x. Oh, sorry. So this is sin h of x, and I want to substitute minus 2 and 2. So this is alright. So this is sin h of 2 minus sin h of minus 2. So now you remember that in the starting I said sin h of minus x is equal to minus sin h of x. So that means this is equal to sin h of 2 minus sin h of 2. So this is equal to 2 times sin h of 2. So this is 2 times e to the power 2 minus e to the power minus 2 by 2. So this is just e to the power 2 minus e to the power minus 2, which is our final answer.